My brother was at he was at DFW airport, and it was black.
Black.
It was like
so I think in
real
the
dark.
so
he
South
could see
Dallas,
he could see stars.
The parents are seeing that he's begging for help. Like I said, I just feel that like these parents are the parents that would be like, hey, let's go get the help.
The hard part about this type of warfare is that nobody wins.
Right.
Nobody wins. And this part of the world has been at war for like forever. Chicago is one of those places that they outlawed guns. And like, you can't have one. And if you have a gun, then you're like a criminal all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Paul and Rey with the No Color Thick Skin podcast. We are super excited to be back with you for episode 26. That's a lot of episodes for us, especially. And we are in season 2, year 2, basically, of our podcast existence.
Wow.
And so we are super excited to be back with you, share some news, some things that are going on, and a very interesting topic that happens to be something very currently debated, I guess you could say.
Big time.
Ray, how's your week been?
Man, I've had a pretty free-flowing week. Nothing too crazy, nothing too big or exciting has really been taking place. Just real smooth, and I needed that just with how things have been going the past couple of weeks. And now one thing that is kind of going on in my life, and you can talk about this with you, but I think I am getting to that place where I'm going to have to search for a new automobile, unfortunately.
No.
Oh no, exactly. But it's been a road. I have a Dodge Challenger that I've had since 2009. All right. Got 224,000 miles on that.
So it's a zombie car.
So many things that you can do in newer cars and things. She doesn't do all that, but that's my baby. Yeah. All right. But I think I've put enough money into continuing to patch and do the wear and tear and read thises and read that's to where it's like, okay, I may be at my wit's end, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see. So that's something that's just kind of been on my mind, just possibly thinking what direction I'm going to go with that. But other than that, the kids are great, family as well. Work has been just fine. So just thinking about taking this deep dive into this automobile world. So
I'm excited for that.
I am not.
Yeah,
I am not. But It's so many different avenues, man. You have people who are, just, selling at the house. You got people who just have like little, small dealerships. You have the whole online process. You have the trade-ins versus this versus that, what you're going to get back and how much you got to put down. And then if you're going to pay cash, if you're going to do. So it's quite a bit. It's quite a bit to think about. And I just don't want to be thinking a lot right now in my life. But that's where I am. So, but like I said, pretty chill week, and that's about it, man. What about yourself? What's been going on in Paul's world?
I bought a big old truck.
Oh wow! Okay. Well. Is that right?
Yeah. He knows this, obviously, and it's a big black on black. Beautiful truck.
So you got you a black beauty in your life now?
Yeah. Nickname is Black Beauty. Not a nickname. It's the name of the truck is Black Beauty.
Got you a big old black beauty in your life. Huh? That's all right. BBT, big black truck. All right.
And it's a diesel. Anyway, got a new truck.
Nice.
Really, it's cool. I needed a vehicle for doing truck things, so we got that. Kids are super busy. I mean, volleyball, cheerleading, baseball. I'm on a softball team men's softball league through my church. We're doing that. So that's all very interesting. My wife is super busy with work. So we're all busy. I'm so busy that I didn't mow a piece of my front lawn for like a whole week. So that's pretty embarrassing.
I mean, who did anybody snitch on you or tell
no
HOA or anything? Like you get a letter in the mail or
I'm probably fixing to.
did one of the neighbors complain or anything? Or
not yet.
Cool?
No, but I can feel it.
Hey, it's all good. Don't get too stressed out about it, man.
I won't get too stressed out about it, but I'm definitely embarrassed for it. So we'll be fixing that momentarily. The weekend is on its way. Good weekend, a good week though, and lots of good things going on in positive directions work wise. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Not too stressed there. So that's good.
Okay, so I do have a question about you say the softball team. So So you're getting you're staying consistent with your workouts.
Oh yeah,
and you're staying consistent with you're eating, and so I mean you. Paul looking good, and you also on the softball team. So what does that look like? How's the softball team with the church, like practice wise, game wise?
There's no practice.
No practice.
We get there an hour early and we throw the ball around. We hit a little bit if we can. Some of the guys go to batting cage. Like putt golf has a batting cage. I think there's. Softball setting you can do. We're doing men's slow pitch. So, I mean, everybody's going for it. When it's your turn to bat, you're like, I'm gonna hit this thing.
I'm taking it to the moon.
Yeah,
I'm going.
And it's hard too with that bigger ball. It's I haven't found it very easy to hit it over the fence. So haven't done it yet, but I'm trying.
So games are when are games usually?
During the weekend, a convenient time on a Saturday usually. So that's like Saturday evening. And then we play a certain amount of games, and then we have there's a winter and a spring season. And I guess it's like a summer season and a spring season, something like that. Mm-hmm. And we end up playing, sometimes when it's really hot, sometimes when it's really cold. And stuff like that. And, but it's convenient, and it's also, a good opportunity to have some athletic things going on for an older guy.
Right.
We're, almost all the guys are in their 40s, except for me and maybe a couple other guys. So it's a good time. It's a really good time. It's amazing to see older guys, move like that. And some of us are a little far along in our development in the midsection.
You working on that. You working on that.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's pretty amazing what you can do when you're motivated.
Right.
Is all.
Right. So that's awesome, man. That's like that camaraderie and all that is cool. I'm just worried, for me, I know I wouldn't be able to do the church portion of it. I cuss too much. I know I do, and I'll probably be saying the wrong things around.
Trust me, there's
Deacon
plenty
Rick,
of cussers around.
Deacon Rick and Pastor, Pastor Steve will probably look at me a little differently because I be letting them words fly when I get competitive because I'm a Libra, and I gotta just dominate in all areas. So I get to talking real fly. But I'm glad I'm glad you're getting out and doing that, man. That's pretty cool.
You have to come next season.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna come through, man. Y'all got specialized like jerseys or t-shirts or whatever. Can I curse on my shirt and talk bad about the other team and like get a screen print shirt made? Talking bad about the other squads and everything.
Not so much that, but you can definitely hit the crap out of a ball.
Well, I mean, yeah. No, I'm just gonna watch. I'll stand in the audience. It's all good. But
it's a good time.
I bet it is, man.
It's a really good time.
I bet it is. But I mean, you was talking about hitting, dingers.
Yep.
Into the sky because you got the bat and you're looking up. Something kind of big happened this week, man. Something
real big. I would say
in the skies. Something happened to where the whole world was like, "Yo, guess what's going to happen on Monday?"
Something astronomical.
Oh my goodness, look at you, man. The solar eclipse. Wow.
Yeah.
That happened, man.
Once every 7 years or something.
I mean, I don't.
Why was this one so special?
I was going to ask you.
Oh God.
You the space dude. I told you I have more respect for the ocean and the water. You are the space nerd and be all into all that.
I do like I like Star Trek.
Okay, that's cool. That's a start.
Star Wars.
That's a start. That's a start. I guess because was this one like the complete or the total one? It was just like the total one that hasn't happened in quite some time. I know people in the 70s were in high school and they were saying they can't wait till the next one happens now and all that stuff. But so where were you when during the eclipse and how was it set up? What were you? Just working, right? I
was working, and I had a couple of. I'd gone to a couple of events before the day came, and at those events they were handing out whatever special glasses to look. Yeah. And so I brought a few of those.
Like the old school 3D glasses, like when we were younger. You have to wear those 3D weird glasses when like a movie or a TV show
they
came
still
on.
Have those. They still have those.
What?
Yeah.
Those weird crazy glasses.
You go to a 3D theater, yeah. Or don't, because it makes me so dizzy.
I was about to say, I think I got, was it vertigo or vitiligo? Yeah. Not vitiligo. Vitiligo is the skin. Vertigo. Yeah,
start to twist over sitting still.
I'm not doing it. Yeah, doing it. That's weird. Okay, so you were at work during the solar eclipse. Were you able to step out and see it for a little while?
Yeah.
And so when the whole thing happened, man, that was a lot. It was.
What were you doing?
It was working.
Yeah.
As always. And we were, we had quite a few families that day, so it just so happened to where I was just kind of in between meeting with families. So I had, my noon family, and then I had a 1 o'clock. So as I was wrapping up with the noon, and they were leaving out, then I went back and got the sunglasses, went outside for a moment, and I saw it, and it was, like I said, it was pretty cool to see. But
how dark did it get where you were at?
It was darkness.
Was it like darkness. Nighttime?
Just about, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty far north. I was almost where I work is kind of close to Oklahoma almost. Mm-hmm. And it got very dark, but it didn't get pitch black.
Not pitch black.
My brother was at he was at DFW airport, and it was black.
Black.
It was like,
so I think in the
dark.
So
he
South Dallas,
he could see stars. That's how dark it was.
Crazy. And it was what, 12:30?
Yeah.
Almost like 12:45 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. So just to think about it and to see it, it was pretty wild. But it was cool experience. How did your kids take take it in, or how did they feel about it?
So my daughters got to see it from home, and I don't think my son watched it. He was in daycare, and I don't know. I didn't.
What do you mean they got to see it from home?
Well, my kids had the day off.
So did the entire school have off, or did they did? Huh? Okay. Mm-hmm. So I say that because my son, had off, but the school wasn't off. He there was a plan that was concocted between mom and grandparents and da to where you don't have to go to school.
You don't have to go to school,
like, oh, yeah, y'all out of school? He was like, I'm out of school tomorrow. I don't know if everybody else is out of school tomorrow, which was funny. I thought it was cool. So he had a nice little day, just like, your daughters did. It was unofficial absence, but I don't care. He enjoyed himself. I love it. Life is about experiences. So he said the same thing. He enjoyed it, but he had a day off as well. So
tell us what you guys thought of the sky going dim in the middle of the day.
And where were you?
Yeah, where were you?
Did you take the whole day off and just sip margaritas and just sit outside all day, or were you working, or what was it looking like? What part of the area were you in? Because it stretched, a good little bit, right? It wasn't.
It was. Super gradual where I was at.
Right.
And at first it was like, oh my gosh, like it look kind of, I don't know, it like hurts the brain to see it, because it's like that's not haze, that's just the sky going dim.
Right.
That's so weird. And I will say, for the rest of the day and the next day, it was like everybody was kind of off because of. I felt because of that. Yeah,
I felt that for sure. Yeah. Huh, that's different. I didn't even think about that.
But
yeah. Well, yeah, totally. And I need you now tonight. I really need you.
that's so where I was going. A lot of things you've been saying, I've been going to it to the song. You said margarita a minute ago. I'm like, one margarita. I'm gonna.
Oh.
I gotta stop.
Paul.
I gotta stop. It's stuck in there. I don't know why. It's on.
My goodness!
It's on Facebook all the time.
You are, sir.
Why?
Throw the Catholic water, whatever
cut it
water
out,
on you
dude.
get it together.
Holy water.
I'm gonna call
and
Pastor,
I need to go
Pastor Frank.
go to the river.
And tell him, yeah, you need to get dunked, boy, because you.
I need some salvation.
Oh my goodness, one margarita. That song is insane. All right, stop it. Focus. 3, 2. Unfortunately, there was some sad news. Something that happened. Well, I would say. Stop it.
Don't laugh.
Stop it, Paul. You stop it.
That you're
you
a professional.
It together. Get it together. There was someone who passed away this week. Now, some people may hear this and they may rejoice. Some people will be saddened. But Orenthal, James Simpson, Orenthal. I didn't know what. Orenthal James Simpson, Mr. O.J. Simpson himself. Mr. riding in the white Bronco, Mr. had the whole world in a vice grip in the early 90s, passed away this week, man. And he had cancer. I had no idea that OJ had cancer. I mean, I didn't know that. It was kind of quiet. So, but this is this kind of big, you know, Paul being a young Caucasian man, going through the whole.
Wait, what?
You being a young Caucasian man, young Caucasian, slight melanin. You got a little bit.
Hey, I got some melanin.
You have a little bit.
I've got some right here.
Hey, focus, all right? You went through and seen, the trial and everything that happened, and the glove don't fit. You must have quit.
Kinda.
You saw a little bit,
yeah.
And growing up knowing the history. What are your thoughts on when you hear O.J. Simpson? What do you think of?
Football, Caitlyn Jenner, great athletes from their time. Also, so OJ has. I just remember the Dave Chappelle joke about OJ and us not wanting to keep him as one of ours or something. Yeah. And then Tiger Woods, they didn't want OJ. Man. The black people didn't want OJ. They gave him back to the white people, but the black people wanted to call Tiger Woods. That's what I think of.
For sure.
Poor guy, came to, I think, so the Dave Chappelle joke about it was that they think that he actually did it. Of course he did it.
So what? Slow down.
So who did it? Who did it?
Yes.
Was it OJ? Yes, it was. Of course it was OJ. But was it? So it's like a circular thing. It's like, what? I thought you. Wait a minute. You're giving me peace about this, and now you're not. Yeah. So he does that sometimes. Anyway, I heard he was a nice guy. He would like show up and there's OJ, and then he's like, hey guys,
just random places and being nice, right?
Yeah. But I don't know,
man. It's so tough because I never knew like a lot of the history of OJ and what OJ meant to so many people, I guess, growing up. Yeah. So when he was a running back at USC, so in California, and then he went and played for the Buffalo Bills. And I mean, he was a very talented running back, man. Like he was very, 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 very accomplished in the NFL. And after the NFL, well, I think partially while in the NFL, and after he started a few things, did some acting roles and a few movies, a lot of commercials. The most famous one was that my great uncles always talked about was the Hertz commercial when he was like running through the airport, and it was like this huge deal to see OJ on the screen. But OJ wasn't necessarily tapped into his how you say this, man. OJ didn't. OJ. Okay. So Jay-Z song, I'm Not Black, I'm OJ. Okay. So that's a song that Jay-Z put out on his album 444. And it talked about just OJ being not necessarily connected to the black community and not necessarily giving or speaking well of the black community.
Okay.
But when people would always say, hey, OJ, like, are you black? Do you feel that you're black? Do you feel this? And he's just like, I'm not black. I'm OJ. Like, that's who I am. I'm here. I'm with everybody. I'm not just going to say I'm pro this or pro that. And that kind of hurt a lot of people. So when he was going through the trial and everything that happened, you know, it was a lot of eyes were on him because it's like this figure that we saw and that we looked up to is now in a murder case with his wife and this other guy. Oh man, this is crazy. So you start hearing all these different stories and learning different things. And man, it was like we said, it was a huge thing across America that, I mean, it was like everybody stood still when that verdict was happening. And, you know, he was, you know, found not guilty for, you know, that. And then there was some civil things that happened. And then he kind of went away and came back and some memorabilia things started getting stolen and he was trying to get it back. And then that's when he really went to jail and he was in jail for a while and recently got out. And it's just a weird world, you know, that we live in to where, you know, this man was convicted of this and now you'll see him over the past few years, just like you say, people go to golf courses and they're like, yeah, I was at this golf course and like OJ was just like there. And
hey guys,
it was like six, and it was like 6 people around him and they were kick clacking and laughing. And it was like, he was nice to me. And then he talked to my kid and he followed up and asked some questions. And it's like, what is happening, man? Like that is a weird life. That's a weird life, man. So, you know, rest in peace. You know, I always feel, you know, no matter who the person, this is just my belief, no matter who the person is or what you think about people, I try not to go down the avenue of like slandering or speaking ill of people when they pass away. Just me. That's not for everybody. You do whatever it is that you do. But like I said, rest in peace to him. You know, thoughts and prayers to whoever in his life, you know, loved him still or who cared about him, because it is still, you know, someone has passed away that they love. So I'm sending healing energy to those folk. But man, when I tell you that was unexpected this week, and then it just, like I said, you start thinking about history and it's just like white Bronco. Wow, man. Like I didn't even know what a Bronco was. And then I saw it and it was just like, whoa, that's there.
That's a cool car.
I want a Bronco. Like
now I need a Bronco. Like, great.
I want a Bronco. That is cool. Like I want that. But yeah, thoughts and prayers, man.
I was actually listening to our final topic of the day live, listening to somebody else talk about it.
Right.
And then they were like, hey,
I need to tell you this.
You know, whatever, what do they say?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. OJ's gone.
It's like, what?
And they were laughing about it. And I was like, man, that's okay.
Well, like I said, you know, you and we can tie that in later. Just it's how you feel about the person. It's whether you're here or there. And like I said, even in death, like, you know, some people will kick kayak and do all that stuff. Yeah. But hey, you know, to each his own.
Hey.
To each his own, man. Yeah. So
well, kind of litigious in a similar way.
Big words.
Yeah. Got a litigious. That's not the word. Sitting in a courtroom over a mass shooting in Michigan. We have heard a what do you call it when they come to a judgment about parents of the mass shooter. Yeah. They're going to jail, y'all.
That is the first time in history that anything like this has ever happened. You have a kid who goes to school, does a horrible and horrific thing to families that, you know, with us being parents, you know, we have, you know, parental paranoia all the time because you just never know what could maybe might, will happen in our children's lives and in their days when they're not with us.
Right.
This kid gets to school and shoots 11 total. So 4 passed away and 7 were injured. And this kid was tried, found guilty, and serving life in prison.
Yeah.
But the prosecution said, no,
not good enough.
Say it again.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. The prosecution said, we're going after the parents. And so mom and dad were put on trial, and mom and dad were found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. So mom and dad are going to serve between 10, 15 years in prison for the crime that their child committed.
And the parents, like we were talking about earlier, you enlightened me on this. The parents knew. They knew that they had warning signs that he was going to do something, that something was way, way off. And as a parent, you're a parent, as you know, I'm sure that some of you guys are parents. You gotta know when, we don't expect the government probably doesn't expect you to know everything that your kid is going to do in the future or what they're capable of. Mm-hmm. But at least look at the warning signs and take it seriously when somebody writes in their diary that they want to harm themselves, harm someone else. This life means nothing.
Begging and pleading for help. Going to counselors at school and saying to my parents, don't listen to me. They don't.
Right.
They don't value what it is that I'm saying. They won't give me the help that I need as I'm asking for the help, and you just ignore it.
Yeah.
How can you do that if you say that you love your child and you know that we live in this place to where these things happen all the time? Are you so arrogant or so one-minded to just think that this not going to happen to me? It's not going to come to our doorstep because we're better, or what is that?
I think, I wouldn't say, it's probably a combination of things, but probably the main one is they don't care. They're going to go do what they're going to go do. I can't change anything. I'm chasing after whatever I'm chasing after.
So help me. You saying who doesn't care? That the parents are saying that they don't care about what it is that kid is going to end up doing?
Mm-hmm.
So I find that hard to believe because,
it's hard to identify with that. Huh?
So, but it's because I look at things to where I see more of my Caucasian brothers and sisters, and you all effortlessly diving into therapy and getting counseling and help and being vulnerable at early ages in life and having the support to jump into those cases. Whereas for myself, man, if you talked about therapy or needing some help or that you're struggling, it was either give to Jesus, pray it out, or you being a wussy. So it was just that was it. It was never hey, let's get together. Yeah, for sure. But I feel, and what I've seen just with my close friends and people who I associate with, it's just been easier for I guess my Caucasian brothers and sisters to have that help and to have the parents who were willing to just, hey, we're not gonna use this and let it be, we have a stigma against us. No, go get the therapy. We'll let you do yours. We'll jump into family counseling, together and do that. So it's wow, why? What is it that they weren't seeing or that they didn't want to have happen? So.
It's mostly the the Marks, the Josephs, the Amandas, some of the Ashleys. They're pretty good at the therapy thing. I don't know why, but some of the other names they're not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I would say, as far as therapy goes, it's you gotta have a certain amount of money. to go, and you have to be willing to spend that, and then also like spill your guts to somebody, and that's not conducive to most men, or maybe females are okay with that, but it's still somebody you don't know. You know?
So on that level, yes, I get that. But I'm saying if the kid, I'm saying Ethan, the 15-year-old kid who did these things,
right?
If the parents are seeing that he's begging for help, like I said, I just feel that like these parents are the parents that would be like, hey, let's go get the help, versus
seems like it.
Hey, we don't want to have this stigma against us, or we don't want to be looked at or looked down upon because we're getting you therapy or we're getting you help. No, we're trying to get you some help. So let's work on that. So I like I said, at the end of the day, this is the first time this has ever happened. Could it create a slippery slope? Could this be, because once attorneys can reference cases and pull from XYZ that's happened
rulings
here,
from different things. Absolutely.
Now it's like, well, how far is this going to go? You have a kid who runs a stoplight or a stop sign and gets into a wreck, and they say, well, we looked at the car and the brakes weren't all that good. So,
and he's only 15.
Dad, you were driving the car, and I got in a text message where it's saying that you saying that the car is, the brake line is acting up. It's not getting lubrication where it needs to be, and so you're at fault because you didn't get the brakes fixed, and you got your kid riding in this car, and the brakes aren't good.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna. You see, like it's these slippery slopes. So where it's like, well, how far can you go with it? How do you do it? What's the case law? What's the case law going to use as
responsibility? I don't know. Maybe it could be like I don't know how they got these parents in jail. Like what the law was that they broke. I don't know how they broke that law that they were.
I think they're just their ruling is just negligence, and with negligence they charged them with, like I said, involuntary manslaughter. Right. But the being negligent was, hey, not doing anything when it came to, we see this kid pleading, and we see this kid doing these drawings, writing these long form worded documents to where teachers and counselors at the school are seeing these, and they're showing concern, and they're reaching out to the parents, and still they're not doing anything. So I think there was just so much neglect where they were like, this is what we're going to do.
So it's so interesting how how this is I guess portrayed. Seeing the or seeing the different angles that you can understand it from, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because in one side you've got the parents. These parents should have seen what was going on. This person is not a legal adult yet,
right?
I see that it could have been tried, and the parents made access to a gun super easy. Shouldn't have access to a gun. Maybe that's one thing. Although there's no, I don't know that there's a law that they would have broken. And then there's another thing of like, now you're as a parent, you're now responsible for everything that your child does until they're however old, or doesn't matter anymore. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is this scary? It's a little bit scary.
Man.
It's
but I guess to piggyback off of one of our last conversations, I believe in last episode, when we were talking about guns and who should, like when you have your CDL, like your license to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if his parents had taken all the courses and had their, license to carry and all of that, and they were not protecting that gun, then that is something that they're in fault for that as well. So you have the negligent part, and being negligent and not having that gun not be in a place where he can gain access to it.
Right.
That was probably something else that was
that
might
have been, a good case there.
Right.
And we see it all the time, right versus left on like, gun rights and, the right's like, they're going to take our guns. And then the left is like, we want to take your guns. No, they don't want anybody to have assault weapons. They don't want anybody to have like repeating guns, although that is pretty much every gun now.
Right.
So it's a weird thing. But, nobody wants their kids shot at school.
Right.
And so getting back to that, I think, I don't know how they made it legal for these parents to go to jail. That's, I would love to hear a lawyer's opinion on that.
Yeah.
Freaky and also good for those parents. So they get a little bit of just rewards for not doing their job correctly.
Right.
I think.
Right. And
that's my opinion.
Hey, like I said, I just hope that it doesn't open up a can of worms that,
right.
to where it's literally like every single thing that is going on, you are being held accountable for, and
right.
Even if it's not death, I mean, even if it is serious bodily injury, and you're going to have to do X, Y, Z. Start thinking about like sporting events, and
oh my gosh,
your kid, got a personal foul for tripping some. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to think about it too much. Like how far is it? All right, that's all I'm saying. How far is it going to go? How deep does this thing go? And when the shoe is on the other foot, are we going to be hypocrites about it, or are we going to stand 10 toes down and stand on what it is that you believe in? And for me, I try to be in a place to where now I'm going to stand on what it is I believe. If I receive new information, and if I receive factual information that states that what it is that I believe was inaccurately, it was incorrect, and that I should look at it differently, I'm man enough to say, hey, all right, I was wrong because I was either dumb, not knowing all of what was going on, or, hey, I'm standing on this, and if I just have to stand on it, I stand on it because that's what I believe, and I have all the facts here in front of me. Right. This is still what I believe, right? Yeah. I'm not going to be a hypocrite if something happens. And, this week I've been hearing so much about this term called the Overton window.
Oh, right? Lordy.
So I've been hearing Overton window. And I'm like, what is going on here? And it goes back to, as we spoke about Candace and Ben Shapiro and their back and forth of what they're having. And Ben Shapiro, I feel he made a name for himself going after people who had different political views versus his conservative views at that time, right? He would get into debates with people. He would call them soft. He would ram out all these statistics, and, he'd just be all over the place. And it didn't matter who it was. He was going to call people out. Yeah. He would say not so great things about people. He would display people in negative light, no matter who they were, as far as, on the left, and, just spew not so great things, right? And, over the past... Okay,
so,
go ahead.
So summarizing what you just said, Ben would call people on the perceived opposite end of him.
Yes.
Bad names. He had no problem being blunt, mean, making fun, all that stuff. Yes. No problem with that.
No problem.
Continue.
No problem at all. I feel that was the basis of him excelling and reaching the heights that he did, because people were like, "Oh, he is calling those
Maxine Waters
out of here." You got to go sit down.
People all over the left
calling them out, right? Mm-hmm. Nancy Pelosi. He would talk crazy, about President Biden and just about Gavin Newsom. It didn't matter who it was. He was going to go hard at you. And Candace would say things that hey, we see these videos that are not making Israel look nice. I'll just say that nicely. And she called them
That's
out.
really gracious.
She was like, hey, like, this isn't cool. This is what you all are doing. Y'all are hiding behind saying that, oh, we're just doing this to try to, get the people who are involved, and we're not trying to hurt the people in Gaza, blah 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 blah, and we're just seeing the difference in these videos. And so she called them people out, and Ben had a problem with it. He didn't like it, so I don't know what they settled on. She's no longer with the Daily Wire, and now Ben has been called out. Like, hey, how is it that you can say all these things about people? You can say whatever you want, but when someone says something about either the religion that you are associated with or a country that you have ties to, it's a problem, and you're putting it into this Overton window, and now you have a problem with what's being said. I don't like it. I don't like it, Paul.
So the way that you described it to me earlier, I was like, anytime I hear about the Overton window, it's being moved. So like the focus of the debate or argument is constantly being moved, or somebody might say, you keep moving the Overton window. So it's
keep
like
moving the goalpost. You keep moving.
Exactly.
Things, making it to where.
And so the Overton window that he's talking about is like what we focus on talking about at the Daily Wire should never be criticizing Jewish or the Hebrews, Israel or any of that.
Yes.
And she was criticizing them because she's got some legitimate concerns. Did she take it too far? As usual, yes. But I think that it was all valid concerns about, okay, these are, we're watching drone strikes from Israel to Gaza, and they're just blowing people up. Like that could have been kids, children,
there were.
mothers, innocent people that, and that, the hard part about this type of warfare is that, nobody wins.
Right.
Nobody wins. And this part of the world has been at war for like forever. So, she's pointing all these things out, and Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire, they don't like that. Mm-hmm. She was also pointing out some holes in their argument, supporting them going after bad guys and bombing Gaza and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And she's talking to some pretty highly regarded rabbis and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think Ben Shapiro did not want that to happen. Mm-hmm. And so that's why he's, there's so much conflict there. And, she's been let go from the Daily Wire, mm-hmm. obviously. So it's just, we're bringing it up because it's like, it's so hypocritical of the Daily Wire to say something like, it's just not in our purview or just not in our Overton window or whatever to criticize Israel. It's like, okay, we get it. You want to act like religious zealots, fine. But know that Candace isn't that girl.
Right.
She doesn't play that.
Right. She calls it, but like I say all the time, it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. So when Candace was doing it against everybody else, they're fine with it.
Totally fine.
It's fine. Like I said, when the shoe was on the other foot.
People are not raising their kids or whatever,
do it. Clap it up.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
You're right, Candace. Do it. You talk that talk, girl. But soon as she says something that doesn't align with what it is that you feel, it's a problem. And I continue to say this. I wish, and I hope to be able to gain a relationship with someone who studies Judaism, who has a great understanding of living the Judaism life, who is possibly even from Israel. I would love to have a connection with someone of that, so that I can know exactly how they feel, how their thoughts are, the things that are going on in their lives currently, and how they feel about these things. Because every time I see something either in the media or something along those lines, it's as if, and I wish I didn't have to say it, but it's like they are beyond reproach. And I just don't think that it's fair to where a group of people or anyone, if you criticize them, you are hate, like that's hate speech. Just to have a criticism, just to call someone out on, hey, this isn't right, that is deemed hate speech. And we've seen it over the years to where people are serving jail time because of that, which is being constituted as hate speech, and it's not. It shouldn't be that way.
That's the one that's the slippery slope that scares me.
That is the problem with all of this. It's like, how can you be beyond reproach, say any and everything that you want to say, but once you say,
especially over speech, that's the one that gets me.
That's a problem. All right, that's a problem.
So I mean, and they, the Daily Wire had every what do you call it, right to let her go on, any, for any reason, I'm sure. But, the fact that they did it over that is pretty hypocritical.
That's not cool.
Pretty hypocritical of how Ben Shapiro's talking about it. And I get it. I'm a Christian. I believe that, Israel is full of the chosen people. And that would be the Jews. And it's still like they can't make any, they can't do any wrong. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Cool. That's not cool.
So,
Candace, she'd be yelling, Christ is king. I bet every time she said Christ is king, Ben Shapiro probably wanted to flip his desk over. Just
no, it's not.
No, not. But I mean, and we're not going. I'm briefly reading up on this, but there's some things that are happening over there right now to where
crazy sauce.
There are these, some parts of the religion are. There are these 3 heifers, these 3 red cows that are supposed to be coming in, that they're supposed to be sacrificing, and they
this
can't.
Is all
we're not going to do it because we're about to go deep. But they trying to sacrifice them, but it's like, where they're supposed to do it, or because you can't go into this part of the land, but if it's on this part of the land, it's with the Palestinians, and then no, we want this so that we can do. So it's about to. I feel like it's going to get even crazier here soon, because going down their rabbit hole that I was reading upon earlier this week, man, it's too much.
So here's the deal. I think that most people that are Jewish are reasonable. Most people that are Jewish are reasonable, and a lot of them don't even practice their religion. They're just Jews. And some of them are like, yeah, I believe in blah, blah, blah. I went to my bar mitzvah and did all this stuff, cool. And then they just, just like any other religion, they, get out of it as they grow older or whatever happens, And in this case, the Jewish community has some really interesting rules and prophecy, or like, what do you call it? Telling the future, things like that. Different episode, different time. We'll go through that maybe, but.
We're going to have to.
Yeah. One of our guests is, I don't know if he's Jewish. He's by birth Jewish, but I think he also practices, but he's also from over there. He's from Jordan, I think. No, he's Israeli. Anyhow.
But he'll be able to kind of talk a little bit about that. What you saying?
Yeah, I think he might. I think he might be able to give us some insight on that if we could ever get him on the show.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just like how this Overton window keeps changing, and we see some things, popping up in the news about it, we also have seen this Chicago shooting really. I didn't realize that there was so many different ways to look at it. But what do you think about it?
Oh, don't do that, man. Come
on. What do you think, Ray? Chicago, man. Okay. What's the name? What's the nickname for Chicago?
Chirac.
Chirac. This
mean,
place
that's one
is
of them.
riddled with crime. Riddled with crime.
Yeah.
And I feel, before we talk about any of this, really, let me just say, I feel really bad for police officers, and I feel really bad for like normal people that are just trying to live their lives and aren't, gang members and stuff like that. And boy, I wish people that commit crimes out there would just chill.
I mean, in a perfect world, yeah. I mean, I hear you.
Yeah. But what we're talking about today, oh shoot, I'm blanking on the name.
Dexter Reed.
Dexter. He, this gentleman, how old was he?
I don't have that. Maybe
Teenager. Couldn't have been.
I think it's maybe 20.
Maybe 20. Yeah, maybe early 20s, if that. Graduated not too long ago, a few years ago. High school. He's got, young family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this guy's a family man. You see how they portray him in the news. He is, a young, up and coming, family man that, just graduated high school and all this stuff. And he was shot to death in his car by police with 96 rounds into his car. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously overkill. That's overdoing it by, if this guy was like shooting people up and in a crowd and hopped in his vehicle, 96 rounds is still way too many rounds for anybody, right?
Yeah.
A little bit overkill.
So much can happen with all that. And
yeah,
like we say, it's never 96 just straight through. Like some of those may ricochet, some may go over. You're falling down and
oh my gosh,
you think you're shooting here, or you're paranoid and you're actually shooting off because your adrenaline is gone. Just so much can happen. But man, this is one that you sent me the other day, and it really it halted me in my tracks, because you see the initial, young black man shot by cops 96 times, and so you see this, and because that's the first, because you just sent me a name, and so I look up the name, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on?
Yeah.
So you see gosh, it's just, man, media is terrible. Just people sensationalizing just so much. It's disgusting, because it's the content is king, and getting the clicks and getting the views and getting people here and there versus just getting the facts. So you see, cops shoot young black male 96 times. He gets out the car and they still shooting him and and it's just like, what is going on? Then you read, and then you start listening to the police giving their statements and what they're saying, and you listen to the mayor, and then the body cam footage comes out, and it's one of those things to where, number one, it's not justified. And I'm never going to say shooting a cop is smart or good or anything like that. So don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not trying to cap for my man here. I hate that he lost his life, but there's just so many things that transpired, I guess, before then, to where it's like, wow, like why is this happening? Well, why did this happen? Or what's going on here? That's one of those things to where it's like, once you start to look deeper, it's like, okay, well, what's really going on here? You know what I'm saying?
It's a weird situation, because like you've got plainclothes officers showing up. I don't know if all of them were, but I know there were multiple. Either they were in plainclothes or they were like in kind of a weird tactical type.
So I think
uniform.
it was a tactical team, and like you said,
right.
They were plainclothes, and they weren't in the I guess would you say the normal police attire?
Right.
Or no, so
Yeah,
plain
we're
clothes.
wearing black and blue or anything like that.
None of that. Plain clothes off, t-shirts.
So, I don't know if that's normal for Chicago PD. Probably not, because they're talking about it being like a tactical team or something like that.
Yeah.
So this guy, he's driving down the road, gets pulled over, and the news keeps saying that he was pulled over for a seatbelt violation, which totally could be the case. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have a seatbelt on. Maybe he did. I don't know. But they pull him over, and he had priors. Like, he's got pending judgments for
I guess
assault with a deadly weapon.
So it's too many, and that's another thing. It's like, why can't they just put the facts out? Because you'll see a couple of videos to where it say something along those lines, and then a couple of news organizations say that he was apprehended. He had a gun on him in at a festival, in a crowd in a festival. It doesn't say that he brandished a gun or that he used a gun. It just says that he had a gun on him at that festival. So it's like, well, what is the charge, or what's going on here? Was it this side, or was it just that he had the gun?
Yeah,
so it's
come
like,
out with it.
Come on, we just like, why can't we just get the truth, or what? How hard is it to just document the right thing? But yeah, go ahead. Like,
he's driving along, gets pulled over. We just watched the video and tried to see from as many angles as we could. I hadn't seen the whole thing, and I probably still hadn't seen the whole thing. But we saw the first part of the interaction from multiple angles, and the lady cop, it's a female cop, goes up to him, and she's trying to get him to roll down his window to talk to him, and he's rolling down his window just barely, and then he starts to roll it back up, and she's like roll down your window. And so she grabs his handle, the door handle, and she's got her gun out, like ready to go. And I think I was confused why that was, but turns out, they knew that he had these priors going into it. And by priors, I mean like that he had already been apprehended.
Mm-hmm. That he had been arrested.
And it had something to do with a gun.
He was out of jail pending whatever was going to happen. Right.
Right. And so as a cop, I know lots of cops, lots of cops.
Right.
Their lives are in danger constantly.
All day.
And I totally get why a police officer would have their gun ready in case, something went south. And it started to go south already. Like, she's telling him, hey, you need to roll your window down. And he's constantly rolling it back up. I'm looking at this like, okay, so far, are we reasonable? Are we doing reasonable things so far? And kind of, she's got her gun out already, and it's already kind of like pointed towards him a little bit. So maybe she's just ready for, like, she knows it's going to turn into, in her mind, she knows it's going to turn into a, lethal exchange, unfortunately. Maybe so. I don't know. How do you know that? And we'll get into this later, but come on, de-escalate. We want to de-escalate, talk to each other like with calm voices. It did not seem calm. The lady definitely was kind of like the opposite of calm, I would say. And so you hear some shots fire, and you can't really tell where the shots have fired from. Also, you can't really see what's going on the other side of the vehicle, like the passenger side of the vehicle. And apparently there was another officer over there, and the guy, from what I could tell, I think the guy getting pulled over shot through that side of the door and the window first, and then all the police officers jump away from the car, of course, and they run for cover, and then they start shooting into the car. And that's when the barrage of, a gajillion rounds go into the car, when I look at the situation, it's just sad all the way around, and there's going to be people that mess up. They make really bad choices. Maybe Dexter made some really bad choices, and he's rolling around in Chicago, one of the deadliest places to live, with a gun. Okay, that's totally understandable, actually. And unfortunately, a cop should really not be that sensitive to knowing that somebody has a gun.
Yeah.
Because it's just, Chicago's one of those places that they outlawed guns. And like, you can't have one. And if you have a gun, then you're like a criminal all of a sudden, which is kind of like the opposite of Texas.
Right.
Texas is where we live. And I'm going to keep a gun so that if there's a bad guy, I shoot him. So it's like taking personal responsibility for yourself and potentially others to save them, right? Whereas Chicago, they're unarming all their good guys. And obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I think that, if you can't have a gun,
against those that do.
Yeah, I mean, the bad guys have guns. They will always have guns. They're always going to get guns.
Always.
Come on.
Yeah. But, and it's just, like you said.
I'm not giving this guy a free pass.
Listen, no. And that's what we always like to say. Like, looking at the whole totality of the situation, man, like, the plainclothes officers, I never understand that. The unmarked vehicles, if you say this as a routine traffic stop, it can't be a routine traffic stop because I see a vehicle that's kind of catacornered in front of his automobile with officers jumping out. And so what led up to that? Like, how did we get to that?
How did we get to this
How's
point?
he in the middle of the street, get like catacornered, and y'all jumping out like the jump out boys? Like, how do we get there? And that's just one of those things to where it's like, I just always feel like, hey, if you need to have a heavy police presence, have a heavy police presence. And I don't see the need to have to always be on like a sneak attack. Now, if you want to have some unmarked vehicles or like some plainclothes officers, a couple around, but if the police work is going to be done, like, let the police be seen and felt like in these places so that, I don't know. I just feel like that is a deterrent versus just trying to sneak catch somebody or whatever. Like, I just never understood that. But because protecting and serving, like, man, just protect me, bro. Like, stand out. If it's crazy out here, I don't want to think that my new neighbor is, just a guy and it's a cop, but nobody knows that he's a cop, and now everybody's just doing things on the other end of the street. No, put a police car out there at the end of the street. So that the people know, hey, it's protected over here. Like, I don't know. Like, it just mentally for me, I just don't understand that logic. But at the end of the day, it was, if that gentleman was the one who fired off the shots first, and he did, we did see that an officer was shot in the wrist. I hate that for him. We said thoughts and prayers to his family, but I wish he would not have gone down that road. But also, I also wish that we lived in a place to where. I showed you a video earlier today. I showed you a video, and it was it was kind of comical, and then we had to put it in a little bit of perspective because it was a couple of our Caucasian brothers and sisters. We had a wedding. I guess had a little bit too much Jim Beam. Maybe had some Johnny Walker Blue, and everybody was feeling real good, and it's kind of coming to closing time, and at some point a fight jumps off, and you see clothes like police officers who are in uniform, in gear and everything are called, and they're breaking up this fight, and these folk who my Caucasian brothers and sisters were fighting the cops.
They're throwing it down.
Fighting. I showed you this. I mean, there were young ladies who were kicking cops. There were people spitting on them, punching them, putting them in headlocks. I'm talking about a couple of them were like duking it out. And this was going on for quite a bit of time. I didn't see not one thing, a mace. I didn't see a baton pull. I didn't see no stun guns. No, I didn't see no guns. They were just going with what was going on. They de-escalated the situation. Those folks got arrested. They went to jail, bailed out, went to court, doing community service. That is exactly what was supposed to happen. Like, I'm not wishing that those folk got they behinds beat in the street. I'm not wishing that they got, you know, a couple of slugs put into them and their families have to bury them. That's not what I'm wishing. I just wish that at the end of the day, man, that grace that y'all showed to those folk there, man, just show me that same grace. Like at the end of the day, just show just if you show everybody the same grace, I think a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. What is it about those 6 who have been drinking all day, fighting you all? What is it about them that you gave that grace to? Where somebody who looks a little bit more like me, you're not necessarily going to be giving me that grace. Make that make sense. That's all I'm saying at the end of the day. Like I said, I'm not capping for this young man who shot the police, but at the end of the day, like, if grace is shown across the board, I think a lot of things can just go without being done. I don't know.
Yeah. I think a lot of this battling between each other, like, you know, it's you know, these guys are racist, or this is, you know, this person is bad because, you know, they have a criminal record, you know, or, you know, it's like you go into a situation, you know, as a police officer, and you would think that they would try to see things from the other person's perspective just for a minute, even from a tactical perspective, you know? Like, hey, if I escalate the situation, then I'm going to use my gun. I don't want to do that paperwork, and I don't want anybody to die. So maybe I should think through what I'm doing will look like to whoever it is I'm pulling over, right? Maybe I should see things from their perspective, or stand in their shoes. Or, you know, not even from a race perspective, but just like, okay, I know this guy might be going to jail because he's got multiple counts of, you know, assault with a deadly weapon. So I need to speak with him like, hey, man, no big deal. Just want to make sure you got your seatbelt on. Is everything okay? Do you have a gun on you? Yeah, okay. You live in Chicago. Who doesn't?
Kind of bring it down.
You know?
Let's just talk. Let's, you know, what's going on here, and
or like even like I've seen the videos before of people saying, like, hey, do you have anything that's gonna shoot me? You know, explode or anything in the car? Yes, officer, I have a gun. Okay, can I see it real quick? Okay, cool. Hey, while I'm talking to you about, you know, your seatbelt, I'm gonna hold on to this. Okay. You know, you're legally able to have this, or you're not legally able to have this, and we're gonna figure this out. But I'm gonna convince you, if I'm a police officer, that everything's gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. There's gonna be a tomorrow. Right. Instead of like, get on the ground. You know, like
all that aggression and being aggressive with doing that.
Ego.
And there you go. It's a lot of it is ego. A lot of it is just pent up aggression and trying to take it out on people. And you know, that's I'm glad you said that, Paul, because I think, like you said, if you're able to have people and police, and we're just saying, just as a whole, in general, if we can get to a place to where, I think that's probably like one of our biggest divides is just people are just unwilling to look into someone and look and see what it is that they possibly have gone through, what it is that they've seen in their life. You don't have to be soft. I'm not saying be empathetic, like too empathetic to where you're blinded by anything. Always be safe. But if you can look at things from another perspective, a lot of things that we quote unquote may disagree with, you may be able to find some sort of a area or happy medium to where it's not that bad. And I think if you're doing that, I think that would, in totality, make this a better place to live and make I guess the country even better. And I think at the end of the day, like that should be something that we're striving for, is being in the best country in the world that we want, I think that should be how it should be. Like, I don't want you, no one should want anyone that is American to suffer. Like, I don't care what side you're on. Like, if it's, hey, we here in America, we love America, we want America to be the best, then, hey, we know it's not perfect, but we want everybody to be well. Like, is that not? Right. Am I like wishfully whatever?
No,
like,
no.
What am I doing here, Paul?
Yeah, I completely agree, and we want to make America great again through
boy, they gonna get
common
you.
ground.
Boy, they gonna get you with that one. You could have used. Hey, rewind. You gonna use another statement because they are.
But not MAGA.
You just said we want to make America great. Listen, we want to
take things back to OJ. Okay,
man.
No, what I'm saying is that there is no common ground if you're unwilling to put down your ego, really. And I'm not gonna hyper focus on the Chicago thing. I do believe what happened in Chicago is absolutely heartbreaking.
Right.
It sucks so bad to hear somebody once again losing their life to a bad police interaction.
At the core, that's what it was. And we can say like that was a bad interaction, but you see what you said, like it sucks on both sides.
Oh yeah.
Because you hate that young man lost his life. You hate that possibly some of these cops are going to be changed forever to where they're probably going to need, therapy and, resolutions to things that, forever while they're on the job, plus, in their, regular lives.
Right.
And it's like, yes, you're able to look at things from both sides because you care and you can see the difference in the dynamics on both sides, Paul. Like that's huge. And people refuse to do that. And like you said, I just don't see that being American at all. You should want greatness for everyone, and you should be able to understand the heartbreak of everyone, not just because you don't see the same things as they do, or you all may not agree on everything the same. You still should be able to have some heartache in that. So I guess, for me, and I'll ask you this. So being America, loving our country that we live in, so being patriotic, patriotism. What does patriotism, what does that mean to you, like internally? Like when you hear it, how you live by it, like what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Well, I would say in general, to me, it means looking out for my neighbor and like basically the foundations of what makes this country great. Not necessarily, I'm ready to go to war, for my country. Although I think that is something that I think that that's something that you should be willing to do is, fight for your country in some sort of way. I will do that. I was disqualified from going into the military. Otherwise, I actually probably would have done that. But I want to serve my country in some sort of way. And that's what I think like kind of the basis is. But if you break that down, it's really kind of treating your neighbor as yourself. And, a lot of people think of that in the extreme, like I'll die for that person or I'll die for you just because you're, my neighbor or my somebody that lives in my country. Right. I do want another thing that I would say is like you want the best for your country. Thinking of like things as, how do I fix myself so I can better fix the world, right? And just like the mentality of like you're in an airplane and you lose cabin air pressure and you got to put your mask on so that you can put other people's masks on. Same concept there. And then I would say, lastly, like improving yourself and this kind of along the same exact vein, really, but improving yourself so that you can improve the people and environment around you. That's what I would say patriotism is, Mm-hmm. And a lot of people just say like, well, fighting for your country, but what does that mean?
Right. Because half of them, they, wouldn't join the military if had to, or they wouldn't know how to, bust a grape in a fruit fight. So a lot of them just be talking noise or whatever and just ain't about that life at all. But so I look at,
Oh, can I add one more thing?
Go ahead, buddy.
I would say one more thing would be finding divides and breaking them down. Because if there's anything that our country was built on and kind of focused on and was running heavily towards when we were first founded was freedom. The freedom of choice, the freedom of speech, the freedom to protect, the freedom to travel, the freedom, this place was vast, unmapped in a lot of ways when we first got here to the, colony, the United States, when we first started out. And there was Wild West, there was this and that, and nothing was certain other than we were free to do,
and explore whatever
in the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right. Yeah. So with me, and what hurts me is that you'll see people in the media or wherever, and when people will speak of being patriotic or patriotism, it's like that's only for hardcore conservatives or hard right wing. Like that's like that is those are the only people who are quote unquote supposed to be patriotic. That's what patriotism is, and I'm just like that. I don't agree with that at all. I know a lot of the guys will wear all the I'm a patriot, I'm a this shirt, and you got the the wounded this guy on there, and you got red, white, and blue, and this that's what a lot of the conservatives will wear, and put that in their links and bios and this and that. And I look at patriotism as patriotism I feel just is a love for one's country, right? You love your country, the country that you're in, and you express that. And I don't think you have to be a conservative to express like, hey, I love America, because I know deep down, like everything here isn't right. Everything isn't right. It's not 100% right. I know that there are flaws and things, but I know I would rather live here than pretty much anywhere else. I know that much for sure. And I can say that with certainty because I know in all the Koreas, it's a whole lot going on over there, and I don't want to be associated with none of that. I know that in certain parts of China, they still legit using the bathroom outside because that's all they got. I don't want to do that. I like the plumbing systems that we have here. I love the ability to move around and go places, do things, explore. I'm not out in these streets or whatever, but I have the ability to be able to do certain things. Like I said, are things perfect? No, but I love this country, and I feel that at the end of the day, I know you said, being there for your neighbor. And I think you have to expand that to where it's like, hey, Paul, you live in this suburb here in a beautiful area. You have a safety on 1,000 and beautiful parks and, different places. But there are some people that are, 40 miles, a little bit south of you who don't have half of those things, may not ever accomplish to have those things in their lives. But at the end of the day, we should also want those people there to either have the best of life that they can have there, or assist them however it is that we can to either pull themselves into a place to where they can have a better life, better quality of life, whatever that means. And if they win, I feel that just helps America win. And at the end of the day, that's what we should want, is that America being its best. So that's with police, fire, your random librarian who's not judging XYZ person. I just feel like everybody should just want to just try to see everyone in their best light, because that's what America is. It shouldn't just be like, hey, this side gets to do this and you supposed to hate America. What? No, like, you're supposed to hate. No, none of us should hate America or have a bad of America itself. Like I said, are there systems and things that are not perfect and that
so many?
Come on, yes, like nothing's perfect. Are there things that make me sad that I have to endure, that I've gone through in life that you will never, ever have to deal with? Yes, it makes me sad. But at the end of the day, I would prefer to be here than anywhere else. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's I like what you just, with you saying that being able to have a perspective to sit and look at things from the eyes of someone else, that just got me to, man, like I think not only the police and not only people in, those authority positions, if we all can do that, I feel like that can only go up. I feel like I said, don't be stupid to where you're, just lollygagging around and, not being not having safety with you when you're out there. And we know that police, man, we respect you all and we want you all to be safe at all times. Like I promise you we do, but we just also wanted to get to a place to where you can just use your vision to see from someone else's point of view as well.
Yeah. Maybe that's the first step in your process. Hey, excuse me, sir. How are you? Are you okay? Yes. Okay. I see that you've got 3 of these, assault with a deadly weapon charges or whatever it was. Just change the aspect of what you're doing from the beginning to use your I think it's called extrospective, whatever the word is, where you look through somebody else's perspective or try, and just come from that approach. And that does require you to care. And if you don't care, that's going to make your job problematic if you're a police officer. If you have any dealings, I'm a store manager and I constantly give away my ego so that somebody else can just live their life. Excuse me, sir, can you, Yeah, absolutely. Just a normal conversation. Somebody will tell me something that they know, right? Mm-hmm. They know whatever it happens to be. Oh, I know this. This is obviously, and what do I do? Oh yeah, okay, absolutely. All right. You know what? I haven't looked into that quite. That's awesome that you know this about this, and we're definitely, wow, look at the weather.
Yeah, look at the weather. Yeah.
I appreciate what you had to say about that. You know,
right. Or when you're at a hospital and the nurse tells you that they save, the IV lines because they know that we embalm through the IV lines, and so we just want to make my job a little bit easier. Oh, yeah, that's what. Okay, like, all right. Yeah, well, hey, all right, hey, all right. Yeah, thanks. Much. Appreciate you for looking out for me. Could I have eviscerated this person and just told them that everything they said makes 0 sense and that is not even close to what's going on? Could have, but what is that going to do? Nothing. Hey, keep it moving, keep it positive, and didn't have to cause a scene at any point. Didn't have to. No need for it. So that's a lot, Paul. That's a lot, man. That is a lot.
We have a job to do, guys and gals, and in betweens,
and all the everybody's.
We got
everyone's.
We have a job to do, and that job is to love one another like we want to be loved. Okay, that's what I believe, and I think more of that. You have to start by caring. You have to start by giving enough to make an impact on somebody else. Mm-hmm. And it's so small what you what you can do. So that means the smallest hint of kindness can change somebody through and through.
Right.
It's happened to me recently. And so just understand, like, it's powerful. This kindness stuff is very powerful. And to sit, it's a nice thing to do, to take into consideration somebody else's predicament. So that's what I think. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I agree. Now, some of y'all, I'm just not going to deal with you, I'm just not going to mess with you,
Try Jesus.
Listen. Because thunder and lightning,
Not
baby,
me.
I throw hands. We'll throw these hands for real. I get out there so quick, fast, and hurry, baby. Let me tell you. Undo that tie. Take that vest. If we have to, don't get it twisted.
Ray.
Listen, don't get it twisted, man. Like, I try to keep it cool, and I try to not let certain garden tools, get into my mind mentally to make me, step out of who it is that I'm trying to be or who I'm striving to be on a daily basis. But let me tell you something. If you get me to that place, baby, like, we can tussle. Like, and I've been working on. I've been working on this. Listen. I've been getting my cardio up. Okay, let me tell you, I'm ready.
Rocky Five, huh?
Listen, I'm ready. Try me if you want to. All right. And I got a side note. There's some garden tools who really are about to have to put some things in perspective in their lives here real soon. And oh boy, what a sight it's gonna be. That's just a little nugget. Boy, what a sight it's gonna be.
All good things. All good things.
All good things. All good things. Well, I know we covered a lot today. And, thinking back to, the kid and his parents who are going to be, serving, jail time, to looking to, see things from a different perspective to try and, make sure that, we as a country are doing the best that we can. I mean, at the end of the day, it's, listening, paying attention, all of this just boils down to listening.
You got to be awake.
And just making sure that you are being vigilant of the things that's just happening in front of you. So, hopefully you guys can take a little bit of this and, incorporate it into your daily life. I mean, even into your household, into your neighborhood, and maybe into neighborhoods to where you have not frequently been into. Maybe you have a negative connotation and you're not too sure. Maybe someone can usher you into going into certain places, maybe to gain some additional, man, maybe they got the fentanyl down there real bad in the carrots. We're not doing that. Y'all stay focused. Just try and go into different places where you possibly have these things that are rooted in you. You're not sure where you got them from, but you have these connotations that are inside of you. Hopefully you can, change those or work towards getting to a better place in that. But, like we said, we're not necessarily trying to change the world. We're just trying to change just our area to make everything just a little bit better by giving our perspectives on things. So
100%.
At the end of the day, that's all it is that we're trying to do. So once again, we thank you guys for always, joining us on this journey of just being here with us as we give you all just our authentic selves at the end of the day, and just giving our perspectives on just life and the things that are going on in this country that we live in and in the world. If you all liked our content today, if you're watching on YouTube, if you could give us a like or a subscribe, we'll appreciate that. We're on all of these social media platforms as well. If you're listening through your auditorial meatus at the moment, on any of Spotify or anything like that, I hope that ASMR hits you real good right now. Thank y'all as well. We got a lot of people who listen through, who work in warehouses and things, and who cut us on to kind of help them as they're working. So we appreciate all of you all for joining us. I'm Ray, and this is my buddy Paul. We are the No Color Thick Skin Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye, y'all.